In today's video, I'm sharing my first project for Phantom Charm Studios here on our brand new YouTube channel. I altered a composition notebook that I picked up at Dollar Tree and I turned it into storage for ephemera pieces. This particular notebook is set up by color, but I'm planning to make several of these and set them up in different ways. What I love about using composition notebook is that the book is already bound and sturdy and you don't have to figure that part out. We're going to use this as the base and alter the notebook to fit our needs. My idea for this is that the front pocket can be used to tuck larger pieces like big tags and journaling spots, packaging labels, anything you want to store and add to a project later. And then behind the front pocket is a full page pocket that is large enough for this manila envelope. Inside the envelope, you can tuck any of the smaller pieces you want to keep. By storing them in the envelope, they're not going to escape your notebook. What I'll be putting in here is small tickets and labels and all of the little ephemera pieces I've fussy cut from printables that I didn't use. My example here shows scrapbooking stuff because I'm just getting started with my journey into junk journals and I don't have a ton of leftovers from my kits yet. But now that I have a place to tuck all of the leftover bits, I can be organized from the beginning. I hope that you love this project as much as I do, so let's jump right into it. Hey there, my name is Tammy, and this is Phantom Charm Studios. We are an Etsy shop where you'll find clip art, pattern papers, and more recently, we've expanded to offer junk journaling kits. The papers I'm using to alter this composition notebook come in a kit available for download in our shop. There's a link in the description box if you're interested and want to check them out. I purchased this composition notebook at Dollar Tree. It's the basic version with 100 sheets and the black and white cover. My instructions will be based on this specific composition book. You can purchase composition notebooks at Target and Walmart and Amazon and many other places, and you can use whatever you have. Just know that the size may be different and the number of sheets may be different. You might have to adjust based on what you have. The number of pockets you can make will change if your book has fewer sheets. And if you already have some of these same Dollar Tree notebooks, go grab one and try this project with me. I created these patterns for this project. I want to set up this first notebook by color. There are 10 different colors, and I'm including a multicolor option if you have florals or something and can't decide if it's more orange or more pink. You can just put it in the multicolor pocket. In this collection, you get one daisy floral pattern and one lined grid for each color. I printed 2 of the daisy pages and 1 grid page for my project. You can do it the opposite way and print 2 grid pages and 1 floral, or you can just use your own papers and set this notebook up however you want. For mine, there will be 11 half pockets that need 1 paper and 11 full page pockets that need 2 papers. I'm using the grid pattern to cover the smaller half pocket and the daisy pattern to cover the full page pocket. If you want to use your own papers, you'll need 33 papers to cover all the pockets and 4 additional papers for the covers. The other thing you need is the envelopes to go in your pockets. I'm using these manila envelopes from Dollar Tree. You can close the clasp if you want, but I think the pocket is snug enough that you don't need to do that. You just want to make sure the flap goes over the top of the envelope when you put it in the pocket. We don't want any of your ephemera pieces to fall out of the book. The manila envelopes are 6 by 9 and they fit perfectly into the pocket we're going to make. The color of these envelopes does not matter because you won't see it once it's tucked inside the pocket. But if you want to cover these or decorate them to match whatever you're putting inside, you can definitely do that. Paper bags would also work. If you have flat bags, that would probably be best. But lunch bags like this will work, and the party bags would work as well. They are bulkier, so this will give you more bulk at the bottom of your pocket. But if that's what you have, use them. This bag is taller than the notebook, so I would recommend folding over the top of the bag to make it shorter. That will help it fit in the pocket and keep everything inside the bag once you slip it into the pocket. Again, it might create a little more bulk in the album, but most of us already have these on hand, so again, use what you have. Once you fold this over, the pocket should be snug enough to keep the flap down. You could use other types of envelopes if you have something like this in your supply stash. This one isn't as big as the manila envelope, but if you have large card envelopes like this, they would work. You could even make your own if you wanted. You just want to make sure that whatever you decide on, it will fit inside the pocket we will create with the pages of the composition notebook. 6 by 9 is a good size to aim for. I do have a few tools here that I'll be using to alter my book. I have this Tim Holtz media ruler. There is some prep work that I'm going to be doing to the notebook, and the ruler will help me tear out the pages from the notebook that are not needed. I need to tear out some of the papers from the composition book so that it doesn't get overstuffed when we add the colorful papers, the envelopes, and the ephemera. If you want to use scrapbook paper to cover the pages, just know that your book might end up a little thicker than what I'll be showing. Most scrapbook papers are printed on 60 or 65-pound paper. Everything I printed on is copy paper. I did not print on cardstock. You can use whatever paper you want, whether it's scrapbook paper or something you've printed at home. Just keep in mind that the thicker the paper, the fatter your book may get. Back to the rulers. I find it easier to tear against a straight edge, so use whatever you have. Metal rulers would work, and rulers that have decal edges would work as well. Just know that all of the edges we are tearing will be covered up with pattern paper. So if you create decorative edges, they won't be visible in the completed book. I'll be using several different adhesives. I'm going to use the glue stick to glue the papers in the book together. I only have this PVA glue here on my desk at the moment, but I'll probably use Fabri-Tac to add the pattern papers. I also have a corner rounder. The pages in the composition book are rounded, so I'll use my corner rounder on the pattern papers I'm adding. That is, of course, optional. You don't have to use a corner rounder if you don't want to. There's no need to buy tools at all. If you don't have a corner rounder, you can always use scissors. I'm also going to be using this spreader tool. When I use large amounts of glue, I find this tool helps distribute the glue and helps smooth out the pages and gets the glue to adhere better. If you don't have one, no worries. The other thing you could use is a brayer. I have one here somewhere. I probably picked this up at Michael's. Rolling a brayer over your paper will also help move the glue to get better adhesion and help prevent warping. So that's all for supplies and tools. Let me clear off my desk and we'll start the project. There is a lot of prep work I need to do to my notebook. This part can get boring. I'm going to be counting out pages and removing papers. And I'll go over that several times and repeat myself to make sure I cover all of the steps. If we don't count correctly or we tear out the wrong pages, it could definitely trip us up. We don't want that. So stick with me as I go through all of the steps. I'm counting out 3 pages here, and be careful. These lined notebook pages are really thin and 2 can stick together. I just double check before I tear anything. The left margin on the paper is a little over an inch wide. I'm going to tear the pages, leaving just less than an inch. We need this inch or so of paper to keep the binding intact. I don't want to tear too close to the binding. That 1 inch we leave helps with the stability of the binding. With my ruler about a quarter of an inch to the left of that red margin line, I'm going to tear all 3 pages towards me slowly. You don't want to go too fast here. When the top edge meets the bottom edge, you want to stop tearing and make a fold. This will create the half pocket you will see when you first open the book. The next thing we want to do is remove some of this paper to start thinning out the book. That way, the book doesn't get too thick with all of the stuff we're going to add to it. I'm going to turn the book and pull back the top sheet, which is page number 3. I need that third page to form the pocket, so we need this piece. What I will remove is half of pages 1 and 2. I'm placing my ruler below the fold line I just created, and I'm tearing off these 2 sheets and removing them. We don't need these pages. I'm folding page number 3 back over to create my pocket. You can see here that the pocket is still attached to the rest of my pages, and I want to separate my pocket so that I can cover it and the full page pocket later with the pattern paper. I want the half pocket to span the full width of the page, so I need to detach it. I'm placing my ruler on the right side of the fold and just tearing the pages up to the center. Now my pocket is no longer attached to the torn pieces of paper above. In a later step, I will glue those flaps down and cover the whole page with pattern paper. I don't want to cut the strips any more than we already have. These strips need to stay in place to ensure the stability of our binding. I'm just going to keep prepping all of the pages right now. I find it easier to just do one thing at a time. The next thing in the book will be a full page pocket. I'm counting out 3 more pages, and I'm going to place one of these half pages after my third page so that I don't lose my place. In this step, I want to tear out the middle page, so I'm removing most of that second page. I'm going to place my ruler in the same place, 1/4 of an inch to the left of the red line. Make sure you only have one sheet and tear it away. We don't need that sheet, so off to the side, I'm making a pile of the pages I'm removing from the notebook. That leaves us with this flap, and that's about 1 inch wide. Later, these 2 sheets get glued together and will sandwich in this flap. We want to keep this flap because, again, it helps keep the binding intact. These sheets will be glued together to make the front side of this first full page pocket. We're going to do that again to make the back side of the first full page pocket. I'm counting out 3 pages and placing that half sheet in there so I don't accidentally add more pages. I'm double checking that I have 1, 2, 3 pages. I need to tear out the middle sheet. I'm placing my ruler in the same place, about 1/4 of an inch to the left of the red line, and I'm tearing out the middle page. We are left with that strip that will get glued between the other 2 pages, and this will become the back page of my full page pocket that the envelope with the smaller pieces of ephemera will slip into. And that's the first section of my ephemera book. We need to repeat that process 10 more times. And don't worry, in case you missed any of that or I went too fast, I'm going to repeat that process again. But you can always go back and watch it again if you missed any details. Following the full page pocket will be another half pocket. So I'm counting out 3 more pages. I'm putting that half page marker there so that I don't lose my spot. I'm placing my ruler approximately 1/4 of an inch to the left of the red line, making sure again that I only have 3 pages here. I'm going to tear all 3 sheets down slowly towards me, and when my top edge reaches the bottom edge, I'm going to stop and crease the fold here. This is my next half pocket. I'm turning the notebook and pulling the third sheet away. That third page will fold over to make the pocket, so we need that page. But here I can remove half of pages 1 and 2. This is the extra paper that we don't need. Placing the ruler under the fold line, I'm tearing out these 2 half pages and putting them in a pile off camera. The third page will fold back over to create our pocket. And now I need to detach my pocket from the rest of the pages here. I want this pocket to be on its own so that when I glue the pages to make the pockets, this half pocket spans the whole page. So I'm tearing this away from the rest of the pages. I'm putting my ruler down to the right side of the fold line and I will tear up. You don't need a ruler for this. The paper is pretty thin, but I find that I tear better when I have a straight edge to tear against. So now my pocket is free and I have these strips that will get glued down and covered up later. After the half pocket is the next full page pocket. I'm counting out 3 pages and I will put my half page there to bookmark my spot. I'm counting again that I have 1, 2, 3 sheets, and now I can remove the middle page. I'm placing my ruler 1/4 of an inch away from the red margin line, and I'm going to tear this page out and remove it, leaving a strip that is connected to the binding. These 2 pages will be the front of the next full page pocket. I'm going to do that again and make the back of the pocket. Counting out 3 pages, put my bookmark down, and now I'm going to remove the middle page. Place my ruler down 1/4 of an inch to the left of that red margin line, and I'm going to tear out the page. This section makes the back side of the second full page pocket. Once you get the hang of tearing the pages to fold the half pocket and removing the extra bulk, it goes much faster. So I'm going to repeat this process through the book and I'll come back to show the last section of the book. So now I've folded over my half pockets and torn out the paper we don't need in the notebook. I've created 10 of the 11 sections of the notebook. Each section is made up of 1 half pocket and 1 full page pocket. If I counted everything correctly, I should have 10 sheets left. Each section uses 9 pages, so there are 11 sections, and that's 99 pages of the 100-page composition notebook. I'm going to make this last section on camera to show what I'm doing with that last extra page. Keep in mind that if you want to make one of these storage notebooks, you can do whatever you want with that last page. I'm going to find my place in the notebook and make sure I don't mess up the count on this last part. Okay, here's where I need to make the next front pocket. I've counted out my 3 pages and I'm putting my ruler 1/4 of an inch to the left of the red line, and I'm going to tear all 3 pages towards me slowly. When the top meets the bottom, I'm going to stop and fold these pages. I'm turning the book and lifting up that 3rd page, and now I can tear out half pages from sheets 1 and 2. Page 3 will fold back over to make the pocket, and now I need to detach the pocket from the rest of the pages by tearing it up to the center of the book, and that leaves me with just those flaps at the top. Next, I'm counting out 3 more pages to make the front of my full page pocket. I'm putting my bookmark and I'm going to make sure that I only have 3 pages. With my ruler about 1/4 of an inch to the left of that red line, I'm tearing out the middle page. I should have 4 pages left. With the last pocket, I'm going to tear out 2 middle pages so that I won't have an extra page at the end. If you want to have an extra page, leave it and use it however you want to. I don't need it, so I'm going to use all of these pages to create that back side of my last full page pocket. I'm placing my ruler down 1/4 of an inch to the left of the red line, and I'm tearing away the 2 middle sheets. The 2 pages left will be glued together in a later step. So now I'm all done removing pages. I've created room in this journal to add in the pattern papers and the ephemera while still keeping the strength of that binding in place. Here's my pile of papers that I removed from the composition notebook. I'm keeping these and will use them in signatures when I make other books. These pages can be coffee or tea dyed. You can ink them and use them for journaling spots or make embellishments for your journals. Every single sheet here will be used in a journal in some other way. I'm going to set this aside and we can move on to the next step. So, with all the tearing done, we can start gluing the pages together to get ready for making the pockets. I'm going to work from the back of the book forward, but you can start from the front. There's no right or wrong with this. This pocket at the back is the only pocket that's going to have those two flaps that need to be glued down. All the rest will only have one. I want to glue down all the flaps from the pages that were removed. It may not be entirely necessary since the flap gets sandwiched between two full sheets, but I don't want it loose, so I'm going to take the time to glue them all down. I'm using a glue stick for this. I think a glue stick works best. I'm saving the more expensive glue to glue down my papers later. So I'm going to glue down the flaps first, and then I will add more glue to the full page and glue these two pages together. This section here forms the back side of a full page pocket. I'm counting out the pages again to make sure that I only have the two papers here that I need. I want to make sure I'm only gluing these two pages for this pocket together. Gluing the papers together will make the pocket stronger. You want to make sure that you go all the way around the edges because you don't want the paper to come apart. Then I'm adding a bit to the center of the page. You don't have to coat every inch, but you don't want to be stingy either. I'm going to press these together and grab my spreader tool. I feel like this adds just enough extra pressure to meld the two pages together. And it helps push the glue out and smooth out any bubbles or wrinkles. If you don't have a spreader tool like this, you could use the brayer I showed earlier or just use your hands. I'm going to do the same thing with the front side of my full page pocket. Glue down the center flap and then glue the two full pages together. Again, I'm using a good amount of glue here. You don't want to be stingy. At this point, I'm not gluing the pocket together. That step will come after I cover the pages with pattern papers. Here, I'm just gluing the pages together that will make up the pocket. I'm not touching the back page that I've already glued together. I'm only gluing together the two sheets that will be the front page of this pocket. So here's the two pages I need. I'm going to glue these two full pages together with that flap sandwiched in between them. I'm adding glue all the way around the outside edge and a little bit in the center of the page. Pressing these papers together, I'm using my scraper here to push out the glue and smooth out any bubbles or wrinkles. Moving on to the half pocket, I want to glue down the flaps at the top. These flaps will get covered by pattern paper so you won't see them. Again, it may not be necessary to glue them down, but I want to make sure everything is secure, so I'm taking the extra time to glue everything. Instead of trying to separate these small pieces, if I add glue to the page and then press down the flaps, the bottom flap is going to stick. Then I add glue to the next flap, press them down, and the second flap sticks. Add glue to that last one and glue down the third flap. Now I'm going to glue the pages of my half pocket together. I'm lifting up that third page flap so that I can glue the two half sheets to the third sheet. You may be asking yourself, do we really need to glue all of these pages together? And yes, actually, it does make a difference. I've made a couple of prototype books and skipped this step, and I regretted it. I don't want these pages to be open slots behind my pocket. I just want one strong pocket. So I'm gluing them all together. I'm adding glue to the bottom half of the pages, being sure to get around the edges. I'm smoothing that out with my spreader a bit to make sure the glue is adhering. Add glue to the next page on the bottom half and glue down the next half sheet. And finally, I'm going to bring that third page over the top and glue this down to make the pocket. You don't have to glue all the way over to the center. Just add glue to the right of that red margin line all the way over to the edge. And that is how to glue the pages that make up that half pocket. Off camera, I'm going to repeat and glue down all of the pages that need to be glued together in each section of my notebook. I'm not going to film me gluing all the pages. The gluing is much more straightforward than the cutting. If you missed any of the steps, just go back and rewatch that part. I'm gluing the pages for this last half pocket. All of the pages in each section of my notebook are now glued together. I'm going to cut this video here and let these dry overnight. In the next video, I'll add all of the pattern papers, glue up the pockets, and finish this fun storage notebook.